last night in the Middle East. We lost 3 brave souls in an attack on one of our bases, and we shall respond.
That was President Biden vowing to retaliate last night after an Iranian-backed drone strike killed 3 U.S. troops in Jordan. South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham and Texas Senator John Cornyn both urging Biden to attack Iran now. Graham writing it hit them hard. Former President Trump is also blaming President Biden for bringing all of this on. Writing on Truth Social, this brazen attack on the United States is yet another horrific and tragic consequence of Joe Biden's weakness and surrender. President Biden recently sending these warnings to Iran. Watch. Don't is what he said. Joining me right now is Pennsylvania Congressman Scott Perry. He is an Iraq War combat veteran and a member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Congressman, is that what we're doing? Is that all we've done? Biden saying don't do it to Iran after 168 attacks, and now we've lost 3 servicemen?
Good morning, Maria. It's actually much worse than that. It's the blood of these service members, these soldiers, is on the president's hands. This is all a result of longstanding policy by the left to internationally accept Iran's terrorist activities in the region. It's not just Jordan, it's Iraq, it's Yemen.
You know, I don't understand why this is happening, Liz Peek. We're up to 168 attacks on our troops. I can understand that he has this narrative in his head that he wants to do a deal with Iran up to maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 attacks. 168 attacks, Scott Perry. When is this president going to respond, and how should he respond?
He should first of all, it has to be immediately. And second of all, the Iran nuclear deal has to be off the table completely. Allowing Iran to have nuclear weapons deliverable by ballistic missiles to anywhere in the world is something that cannot happen. The United States has to be very clear about that. And so crushing sanctions, disallowing Iran to sell its oil on the open market, disallowing all the foreign entities that stand to make billions and billions of dollars on an Iran nuclear deal. They all need to be told immediately that is never going to happen, and then supporting the Iranian resistance inside and outside of Iran, which the Biden administration has cut the legs out from under, and the Obama administration for that matter, over and over and over. That's what needs to happen, and needs to happen immediately, along with any military response, whether it's in Yemen or in any of these other countries. It needs to happen immediately. Yeah. There needs to be a complete reversal of policy.
I don't think that's what we're seeing. Cheryl, I want you to jump in here. But first, let's take a look at how Biden, quote unquote, threatened Iran over the last couple of months. Watch this.
There's limited fighting already on the northern Israeli border. And I wonder, what is your message to Hezbollah and its backer, Iran?
Don't. I've already delivered the message to Iran. They know not to do anything.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they're shaking in their boots, Cheryl.
Here's the question for the congressman. What's the red line? Where is it? Is it 3 dead American soldiers? Is it going to be a ship ends up being sunk in the sea? Because we've had the Houthis continue to attack commercial. When one of them goes down, is that the red line? What is the plan here from President Biden? We don't have one.
We're way beyond the red line. The red line occurred probably during the Obama administration. President Trump tried to drag it back. Crushing sanctions pushed Iran's leaders within an inch of their rule in that country. Remember, the mullahs don't rule by popular consent. They rule by fear and tyranny. And so that can change. But the Biden administration, following in the footsteps of the Obama administration, has empowered them. And of course, with billions upon billions in American sanctioned dollars. What do you think they're going to do with it? They are a terrorist superstate. Any single American across the country, whether Republican, Democrat, or anywhere in between, recognizes who these people are. They are the enemy. They have avowed death to America and death to Israel, and they're carrying it out. Nobody should be surprised.
Go ahead, Liz.
Congressman, Joe Biden has expressed weakness on so many levels, the pullout in Afghanistan, et cetera. But now he's also going wobbly on our support of Israel. Does this attack, does this murder of 3 service people change the calculus in Congress, in the House, on accelerating aid to Israel and being an even stronger backer of their resistance, if you will?
Well, I sure hope it does. I would say this. The Biden administration is actively negotiating with Israel to get them to surrender in Gaza. That's what they're doing. That needs to stop immediately. It's not about, asking Israel to be weak or something like that. They're literally trying to get Israel to surrender, and they're negotiating against the Netanyahu government. Who can accept any of that? President Biden is actually, I will say this, with Tabatabai, the issue with Tabatabai and Robert Malley, I'm not sure if somebody, including the president, shouldn't be reviewed for treasonous activity at this point.
Wow. Treasonous activity is what you just said. And I want to point out what the Journal writes this morning in an op-ed, Biden, Iran, and 3 dead Americans. One thing to watch is whether the administration will react to this attack by putting more pressure on Israel to stop its campaign against Hamas. This would validate the claim of the militias that they are merely targeting the U.S. because it supports Israel. Let's see how this president responds. In the middle of all of this, Congressman, we've got a failed climate change agenda. President Biden is facing backlash this morning because he paused the approval of new licenses for liquefied natural gas exports. Business organizations from the U.S., Europe, and Japan sending a joint letter to Biden urging him to reverse this decision, Congressman. What are your thoughts here, and what is the impact of this decision?
Well, my thoughts are this. This should, again, be no surprise, just like Biden is on both sides of the war in Iran and Iraq and Israel. He's on both sides of the war in Russia and Ukraine. While he's asking for more money from the American people, he's strengthening Russia by canceling our natural gas exports and abilities to explore. No one should be surprised. It's weakening America. It's helping our adversaries and literally our enemies around the globe. Certainly business leaders see it, but Americans see it too in this winter season where people can't afford their electricity bills and their gas bills. He's telling them they have to pay more so that we can help Russia and Iran. It is unbelievable. That's exactly right.
Real quick, Congressman, where does this Senate deal stand? Your colleagues are trying to push a deal. Will you confirm that this is what the deal is, that you say you're going to have 5,000 people come in illegally to this country before anything can be done in terms of deportation? Where does this stand?
Well, according to the speaker, and I sure hope it's correct, it's dead on arrival. It should never be considered. There shouldn't be one Republican senator involved in this deal. It's enshrining lawlessness and a wide open border that is imperiling the United States and our citizens. They want us to enshrine it in law. It is unacceptable. What they need to do is close the border immediately, and then let's see how long that lasts, and then we'll talk and see what we can do. But the border needs to be secured immediately before anything else is done.
Well,
nothing less. Nothing less is acceptable.
Is your colleague, Senator James Lankford, leading this, a Republican?
Well, if he's complicit, it is what it is. I certainly wouldn't be involved in anything like that. The Democrats and the left have destroyed our border, and we should not be negotiating with anybody that's trying to destroy America. We should be putting our foot down and saying, secure the border before we do anything else.
Congressman, thank you. We'll be watching all of that. We appreciate your time this morning.
God bless you.
Scott Perry.